Something is going on with the Clash Royale team. Every update is nothing but an attempt at blatant cash grab.
Why are they doing this?
It doesn't take a bright mind to understand that these over the top petty deals won't help them boost their income. And they have done this over and over and over again. Like, you know what? Let's remove the season shop, nerf the pass, and also remove the chests.
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
Their decisions are obviously morally off, but they also don't make any sense from a business perspective. So why? Is Supercell killing off the game? Yes. Well, there can be multiple reasons why a studio kills their game, but in view of Clash Royale, they can be boiled down to two. First being internal issues, like the studio being on the verge of getting closed, or developers working on the game have been laid off, leading to a game's abandonment. Hard to imagine that's the case though, since we know they have a dedicated independent team that works on it and has full authority, and the studio is not shutting down anytime soon. There is also the issue of team composition, which I will get into later. But the other reason that many people point out too is that if a company thinks their game is doomed, shattered beyond all hope, then they will start pushing for profits through microtransactions and high pricing as hard as they can before the game shuts down. Honestly, I don't think that's really the case too, because Clash Royale was actually never close to dying. The truth is, it will never die. There are many reasons why I think this. First, Clash Royale's active player base has not reduced by as much as people think it did. Even comparing to the peak revenue years of 2017. Their average monthly active player base last year was 35 million, the same as in 2018, which was shockingly an increase from their peak years 2016 or 2017. So Supercell releasing such horrible updates does not mean that they are killing off the game or that they think the game is close to dying. They are simply aware of the fact that the active player base and interest over time has been unaffected in the long term, which makes them fairly confident that even this diabolical abomination of an update won't do much damage in the long term. And they are somewhat not wrong for thinking that. Yes, the revenue has decreased fourfold, meaning the team has not been able to monetize the players effectively. But I think Supercell does not mind that. I think they have accepted the fact that CR is not making big money like it used to. And perhaps they don't even need to try. They still have their other games which have been doing amazing, so they simply don't care about CR right now. Yes, players' interest in the game dips every few horrible updates. But the game always manages to bring it back up, simply because CR is fundamentally an amazing game and an amazing concept, and no bad update can take that away from it, and they know it. They know that keeps people coming, even after the horrible updates. You might say then why would they be okay with lesser revenue? See, to us it feels like the game is on the verge of dying, reaching the point of no return. We think the game having such horrible updates must mean it's doing horrible financially too, but that's not the case. CR's last year revenue is approx 16.8% more than 2023's, which was their worst year. So even though most of the updates were up to no good, $202 million is still not actually a small number, so in their eyes, it was probably not that bad and possibly even considered a success. Not to mention, Supercell as a whole arguably had their best financial year in 2024, grossing close to $3 billion, thanks to not Clash Royale. So it makes sense why the leadership team and the company is giving priority to those games more, while ignoring CR. Clash Royale's ARPDAU, average revenue per daily active user, is $0.21, meaning that on average an active user generates 21 cents in a day. This is actually a strong ARPDAU for a mobile game, as many games struggle to reach even 10 cents. So this proves that CR's monetization model is passable. Looking at the data like yearly revenue, average monthly active players, and ARPDAU, you can kind of see why Supercell thought they were correct in making the updates in 2024. So they carried that logic straight into 2025. Player base is steady and cash keeps rolling in. So this is not them killing the game. This is them pushing the line as far as they can to test where the pricing limits are, beyond which people just stop spending. The line where they can make decent money with minimal effort. This is further proven by the cycle CR is operating on. Not 2.6. This cycle, the cycle of releasing pay-to-win bland updates and free-to-play friendly exciting updates. They will drop updates that nerf progression, and then every now and then they will sprinkle in an update that buffs progression. So this little buff to progression is a clever way to keep the community engaged and player base just healthy enough while requiring minimum effort from the developers. And that's how they stay just over the line. The numbers don't lie. Just look at Supercell's April earnings. You can see exactly how much they pulled in last month. We have to remember that most Clash Royale players are casuals. They play matches while they are sitting on the toilet and will maybe spend a bit if they feel like it. They are not following Clash Royale on social media. They are not aware of all the shit that's happening, and I doubt they would care that much. To us, it may have seemed like the entire community had gone ballistic, but really it was just the loud minority online. I mean, people on Reddit have been protesting for years, claiming the game's been dying since practically the beginning. The developers probably view them as nothing but a bunch of fanatics. Now, the team responsible for Clash Royale's updates, balancing, and community management is a small team compared to the overall game development at Supercell. So, fair to say they cannot bring in huge, extraordinary updates every single time. But they are not even doing the bare minimum. You already know why, because their goofy ass, overly aggressive monetization strat works somehow, and they don't feel like being charitable, so we end up with this periods of long-term soulless cash grab updates. But then there is also the theory that these long periods of tomfoolery then create an opportunity for a future resurrection, where they will revert some of these changes and maybe even add tons of cool stuff in order to get people excited about playing the game again. Which works, considering people will feel as if the gameplay is fresh again and will keep playing again. And then the cycle continues. So yes, if you call the Clash Royale team greedy, you are somewhat correct. But if I had to think of a more suitable word for them, it would probably be opportunist. Someone who is seeking benefit from a situation while putting minimum effort. In my eyes, greed is not something that fully comprises of negativity. Sometimes greed can result in a positive outcome on yourself or others. Greed implies that you desire for more, way more than you need. There is an essence of drive in it. If the team really desired money, a lot of money, they would have thought of ways to revitalize the game instead of draining it until it's gone. These offers are not a way to boost the revenue, and they know it. The truth is, they lack the drive, the hard work, the greed that the likes of Brawl Stars' and Clash of Clans' team have. The greed that leads to growth, positive impact, and does not come at the expense of others. This was exemplified by the Brawl Stars team last year when they did something that no other Supercell game managed to do ever. Brawl Stars broke the stigma that Supercell games never reached the monetary success of their early years, let alone surpass it. It surpassed it 6 years into its development, earning approx $662 million in revenues. Last time CR and Cork earned this much was pre-2017, proving that the Supercell games can still achieve a lot of success years into its development. Now you might be saying, they could only do it because of heavy marketing and collabs, you glazer, and you are correct. But I think a lot of push behind it was also it being decently free-to-play friendly and events being genuinely fun. I'm not saying they were not paid to win. They still were, but they did not let the premium content interfere with the core gameplay as much. They maintained a balance in such that the spending remains optional while still being appealing to those who want to spend. So Brawl Stars' development team deserves as much praise as their marketing team. And yeah, I will happily gobble on those nuts. Whereas in CR, it's literally a requirement to spend if you want to progress. Which makes me think if CR was to apply the same strategy of big collabs, they wouldn't do well, as there is already a disruption in base gameplay. What the Brawl Stars' case also proves is that CR can peak again too. It has the potential. It is as monetizable as Brawl Stars. With the right team behind it, it could smoothly rise back to being Supercell's top earner. It also shows that a decline in interest over time does not mean that the game cannot peak again. While it's true that interest declines in every game, releasing broken updates and paywalling features is by far a bigger factor in causing player dissatisfaction and loss of support, ultimately deciding if the game dies or thrives. Frank himself said this about the state of Clash Royale.
I see a lot of people saying stuff like Tencent, the Chinese company that bought Supercell, whatever the hell, they ruined the game. And like they made the game completely a greedy cash grab that lives off the former glory of the game. And I honestly do not believe that yet. I don't think that is a viable long-term business strategy because they know how it's called Supercell. The whole thing is like having small cells as teams. If I worked on the team, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I can't wait for this next season where I get to just like design an offer for the game and fuck all really. It's hard to believe that they're intentionally doing shit things. I don't think they've like completely abandoned it as like a cash grab, whatever the fuck yet. It's a very hard sell that to me.
And honestly, I kind of agree. Pointing the fingers at Tencent does not make any sense. CEO of Supercell himself talks about how he is the least powerful CEO because the teams have so much autonomy. And think about it, if Tencent were really at fault, they would have fucked up every single Supercell game, which just isn't the case. And like Kentanil, I also don't think they are that far gone yet. We have to remember, it's a team effort. There are likely individuals working on the game who are genuinely passionate, but as a team, they just have not been heading in the right direction or being able to create a vision together. In a blog post, former Heyday lead Stefan Demirjian reflected on his experience working with teams, saying, I have personal failures on that front, where my past new game teams fell apart. Sometimes it's really those small interpersonal connections that create the biggest problems. It's totally possible that Clash Royale team is dealing with the same kind of issues, or maybe
They're just incapable.
either way, it's hard to really know what's going on behind the curtains. Hopefully it's nothing too dark that ends up blowing up in some weird Clash Royale conspiracy or something. For long-term revenue stability, maintaining or increasing ARPDAU is crucial, and sooner or later they will have to bring some real improvements to the game. So I think Supercell will boost progression in the coming months and further introduce new monetization strategies, making the game playable again. And who knows, even free-to-play friendly. And no, I don't think Supercell is killing CR. As much as the game might seem like a burden right now, the game's current state is the result of conscious decisions. They know CR is just too good of a game conceptually to kill. Plus, with Clash Mini planned to release inside Clash Royale, I am hopeful. Actually, I'm confident we'll see a comeback.